Hey there, bud. On today's episode of Time About the Movies, you see my little buddy back there, Jax, and, we talk about another buddy this week of somebody in a movie, Mark Wahlberg's live-action CG hybrid teddy bear named Ted, who is voiced by Seth MacFarlane. We'll take a look at that. We'll also take a look at Steven Soderbergh's latest film, Magic Mike. We'll also take a look at the latest Madea movie, Medea's Witness Protection. And we also have... we have Chris Pine, Elizabeth Banks, and people like us. We have we have Beasts of the Southern Wild, and we also have Take This Waltz, as my dog just literally jumped off the bed. But with all that said, you saw the dog, so let's go ahead and just get to the show here. June 29, 2012, let's wrap June up. This is Time About the Movies.
Nothing is more powerful than a young boy's wish.
You're my best friend, John.
But eventually, everyone grows up.
How great is this? The four of us out to dinner.
I'm always fascinated to meet Ted's girlfriend. What do you mean, girlfriends?
Whoa, whoa!
From the creator of Family Guy.
I'm sorry, I love you.
I love you too.
Ted.
Down here. Not looking up your towel, not looking at your funny business.
Rated R.
And welcome to Time About the Movies. Today we are taking a look at the 6 films that make up June 29th, 2012. And we start off, of course, with the biggest of the new releases, one of the big comedy hit of the summer, and that is, of course, Ted. In the movie, you see from the little commercial there, you have a young kid named John who makes a Christmas miracle happen by bringing his one and only friend to life, a teddy bear. The two grow up together, and John, now grown up to be Mark Wahlberg, must then choose to stay with either his girlfriend, played by Mila Kunis, of course, is made from Family Guy, or keep his friendship with his crude and extremely inappropriate teddy bear named Ted, voiced and motion captured by Seth MacFarlane. Now, I've always been a fan of Seth MacFarlane's work for many years. I've liked a lot of his shows, Family Guy, especially in the early years. American Dad is still very funny. The Cleveland Show, very hit and miss overall. Even some of his movies, like Million Ways to Die in the West, wasn't the best overall, but certainly wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. But I was very curious to see how this film in particular was going to work with his film debut, and I thought the trailer sold me right off the bat. The comedy in those trailers were very funny. The red band and green band trailers made me laugh my ass off the first time I saw them, so I was already excited for this. And I still had to ask myself, could Seth MacFarlane make that successful transition from TV to film? Because, as we've seen in the past, not every TV star can make that transition fluently. You know, MacFarlane did the smart thing and start off with acting roles before he made the transition to directing a film, with a role in Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, and a disappointing cameo in the Dwayne Johnson ASIC, The Tooth Fairy. But how much did I like Ted? Well, why don't we ask the man himself? Here he is right here. This really was something that I bought as soon as I saw the movie. I got this, actually I got this around Christmas time. I was at an FYE, I can't remember where it was. I think it was in the Mills Mall, down by the airport in Pittsburgh, and, I saw this in there, and I got this as a Christmas gift to myself, pretty much, because, like, this is a life-size Ted bear. Like, this image, this camera right here, can't show it to you here, but let me just show you how life-size this thing is. Yeah, that's how life-size it is. It's literally a life-size replica of Ted. But not only is it a life-size replica, but it can also talk, too.
Hey, Johnny, how about a beer, huh? A full Bruce Dostoevsky's? Perhaps a Teddy Bruschi?
So yeah, that's pretty cool. I actually just found this again to get ready for this review, but this is not how it looked like when I put him away the last time. Here's what he actually looked like beforehand. Yeah, this is exactly how I found him when he was when I was going through my stuff to look for him. But yeah, it looks like a mess. But I don't know. I don't think it looks bad. Ted, what do you think?
I don't. I look like Snuggles' accountant.
Ah, come on, it ain't that bad.
I look like something you give your kid when you tell him Grandma died.
Johnny, this bear is for you, but we have some bad news about Mima. You're not going to see her anytime soon. I guess it's pretty bad. But if you want a full understanding of what this thing is covered in, this is actually a terrible towel is cover for your head. Which, if you don't have a sweatshirt with like a thing to cover your head on, you could just take this off and you could do this. See? Look at that. If you don't have a sweatshirt with a hood on it, you can just do that. And then, of course, what's the cape? my old baby blanket. I still have this from when I was a baby about 36 years ago. That's held up pretty well over time when you really think about it, since it's been 36 years. But I keep this over Ted, mostly to protect it and all that. But yeah, this is my baby blanket from when I was little. But yeah, as you can tell, I am a fan of Ted. I love this character, and I have many copies of the movie on DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, you name it. How can I say no to this little guy right here? Honestly, how can I say no to this little guy right here? Because, yeah, this movie was a ton of fun. This was a laugh-out-loud comedy with Seth MacFarlane nailing it, delivering the film's best moments as this main character. He makes this guy very likable, and about halfway through, you look at Ted as a regular person and not just a teddy bear. MacFarlane, he shows off that acting abilities and proves that he's able to branch out in some scenes and be more serious instead of his typical comedy styles. And yeah, you can see there's definitely shades of Peter Griffin when he talks, and he even says this line in the movie where he's just like, "Hey, I don't sound like Peter Griffin," where he kind of does, but I think it works very well. It works well to this character as a whole. In fact, I'm going to let him sit right here for the rest of this review. Let's see if he likes his stick. There you go. He's actually fine. Let's get him a little bit more closer. There we go. He can cower over me as I give a review of his movie. But the movie overall does work very well. I like Mark Wahlberg and Mila Kunis. I thought they had some good chemistry together. I was kind of bummed that she didn't return for the sequel to Ted. But hey, Amanda Seyfried's been an excellent addition to that series in general with the second movie, which isn't as good as the first film, but we'll touch on that as we go along here. But it didn't feel long at all. It kind of knew when to stop and didn't feel padded out. It could have... except for the end, I will say the ending does feel extremely padded out, and really, you could have taken the ending out of this movie, and you really would have had a good film after that, which does lead into my flaws with the movie, because the biggest one is with Giovanni Ribisi, who plays kind of the sort of villain of the movie or something like that, where, he was a kid that wanted Ted to be his friend growing up, and, didn't happen, so he's growing up to be Giovanni Ribisi. And I like Giovanni Ribisi, but his character really feels absolutely pointless and stupid. We've seen this character done before so many times in much funnier movies. I mean, he's a character that feels kind of pointless to the film overall. The other flaw with the film, as I said before, it does feel too padded out towards the end. You get a feeling that the movie's going to wrap up at one point, and then we've got another half hour to deal with here. In The Dark Knight, you made it work. I mean, you tricked us into thinking the movie was over, and then you added this hour of the film that added more conflict to it. But in this film, it's really pointless, and there really is no real conflict here. It just feels like they're adding a scene here so they can have a sort of conflict, and it just didn't work for me in the long run here. And despite those flaws, this is still an excellent movie. This is one of the funniest comedies I've seen of that decade. It's a great original concept that pays off very well. The cast is great. The laughs come at you every minute. This makes a smooth transition for Seth MacFarlane to the big screen. And it pays off very well, and I really was curious to see what he would do next. And while many people were still waiting for that Family Guy animated movie for the big screen down the line, I mean, the next couple movies he did weren't bad in general, just kind of underwhelming compared to the first Ted movie. So, Ted, you did a good job, my friend. So, yeah, there you go. That's my thoughts on Ted. So let me go ahead and put this back here, and while I do that, you take a look at the scene from our next movie, which is Magic Mike.
You're just tripping. You all fulfill every woman's wildest fantasies.
You are the husband that they never had. You are that dreamboat guy that never came along. You are the one-night stand that they get to have tonight with you on stage.
I was hoping this was all a joke.
It's pretty funny.
Magic Mike, rated R.
Yeah, a movie that you would look at it and go like, well, this is clearly made for the ladies. I don't think a guy like me, a masculine fellow like me, could enjoy a movie like this. Well, turns out a lot of people really enjoyed it. Not just the ladies, but also the guys too. And pretty much everybody enjoyed this movie. It was a big critical success when it came out. It was Steven Soderbergh's biggest financial success he had in a long time. And it was a great movie. It was a really, really good film where you follow this kid played by Alex Pettyfer, a 19-year-old college dropout who enters the world of male stripping guided by Mike Lane, played by Channing Tatum, who had been in the business for 6 years. You also have characters played by Matt Bomer, Joe Manganiello, and of course Matthew McConaughey, in a performance that many thought he should have gotten an Oscar nomination for, and he did not. But hey, at least in a couple years' time, he would get the Oscar nomination and a win for Dallas Buyers Club, but I think that was mostly kind of a body of work Oscar in general, but we'll save that for discussion when we get to Dallas Buyers Club. But this movie overall does work really well. And it works because, you know, it's based on real life stories from the fact that Channing Tatum was indeed actually a male stripper in Tampa, Florida when he was 18 years old. So this fits right into him, and he gets a chance to show his acting abilities overall. And, you know, this movie proved to a lot of people that this guy can act. I mean, he's really good in the movie, playing this role in general. You have a lot of really good performances all across the board in here. I mean, it's a movie that will appease the obvious ladies who are going out there for a ladies' night and all. This is a movie that does what the Sex and the City movies don't do, and it's entertaining to not only the ladies, but the guys who are being brought out there for date night. They'll find a lot to admire about the movie in terms of the storyline and the fact that they wish they could be in that type of situation that these characters are in. And it's just a good movie. It's Steven Soderbergh doing what Steven Soderbergh does so well. And it works. He takes a concept that should not appeal to all audiences overall and somehow makes a really good film out of it. It's a really strong film. Definitely one of the big surprises of the year that a lot of people didn't see coming, myself included. But it's actually pretty good. It's well worth checking out. Magic Mike, I highly recommend it. So now let's get to the one piece of garbage we have this weekend, and that is the return of Madea in Medea's Witness Protection.
Dude, I knew nothing about this.
The mob is after them,
We need to move him someplace safe.
but only one woman can protect them.
Hello. I got sold. Where you been?
They're sleeping still.
They got to get out.
You're so huge, like a giant bag of Skittles.
You better get the hell out, boy. When I come back up in here, you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna taste the rainbow.
Medea's Witness Protection.
Her butt must be hungry because it's chewing that dress alive.
Rated PG-13. In theaters Friday.
Okay, first things first, your movie is in trouble right away when Tom Arnold is the first thing you see in your trailer. If you're promoting a movie and Tom Arnold's the first thing you see in a movie that's released in 2012 and isn't released direct-to-video, something is clearly wrong in Denmark here. But this is Tyler Perry returning once again as Madea, the 7th installment of this series, the 14th film by Perry, as the 4th film by Perry not to be adapted from one of his plays, and the first Madea film not to be adapted from one of his plays. It tells the story of Madea being host to a family that the FBI has entered into the Witness Protection Program, led by Denise Richards and her husband Eugene Levy, due to the fact that the patriarch has been the CFO of a company that the crime family was using to further their Ponzi schemes. And this movie, unfortunately, has the same problem that Eugene Levy had with the movie The Man. I mean, the guy in The Man, he was actually doing a good job with a lackluster script overall, keeping up with Samuel L. Jackson. That's the one thing I'll give that movie credit for. The movie's not great, but at least he was trying in this. This one just feels like this was a film that was supposed to be written. This is a movie that felt like it was written in 2002, not 2012. I mean, this is a movie that feels like it should have been right around that time when Eugene Levy was just playing Jim's dad from American Pie, because it literally feels like he's playing a bumbling version of Jim's dad from American Pie. Like, you don't buy that this is a real character whatsoever. And it's not because of Eugene Levy. It's just because the script is fucking terrible. I mean, this is a lousy, lousy movie. It's not funny. The action elements that they're thrown in here are not really great. It's not even a movie that feels like it should be in the same Madea world. Like, it feels like two separate films merged together. Like, Lionsgate had a comedy with Eugene Levy, you know, being put into the Witness Protection Program, and then they said, you know who could make this probably better than we think it will be? Tyler Perry. Let's see if he'll write a script for us. He can write it within 8 hours or so we should have it done by the end of the day. Because that's what it feels like. This script was written within a day, and they just said, fuck it, let's film it. I mean, no joke, this thing was literally filming before the year even began. This film started after the year began, because this didn't start filming until mid to late January, and got done until March. They released this on June 29th of 2012. So that's 6 months in between putting the movie out in production and getting it out there. Like, why? Like, what? Like, why? What? Like, why? Just why? Why this movie? Why waste all these people's talents? Why even make this movie to begin with here? This is a movie that just feels lazy on so many levels, and yet it was one of Tyler Perry's most successful movies. And quite frankly, I can't understand why, but then again, that's his audience. That's his audience coming into this. I mean, we've talked about it with him. Say what you will about his movies. The guy is pretty good at marketing his movies to the public that he thinks is going to enjoy it. And they are coming out to see it, and they are making it successes overall. So, yeah, not much more to say about that. But, yeah, there you go. Medea's Witness Protection. We got the bad movie out of the way. Now let's get back to the good stuff here. And this is actually a very underrated film that probably many of you don't even remember even came out, but it's got Chris Pine, Elizabeth Banks. It's directed by Alex Kurtzman. It's People Like Us.
So, I hear you closed the deal.
What's that in commission, about 80K?
84.
84,000. That should just about cover your debt.
No, don't do that to me. Jim, that's my year. That's my nut,
It
man.
is not yours.
Jim, I need this money.
My son blew up a pool at school today.
Sam, I'd like to talk to you about your father's estate. He left you this.
Your shaving kit. $150,000.
I'm supposed to give to some woman and kid I've never even met.
Record producer Jerry Harper is survived by his wife and son. It's official. I don't exist.
Hi, I'm Sam.
Frankie.
She has my father's eyes and his nose.
I don't understand. You don't have any sisters.
I do now.
Hey, Frankie.
Can I get you something that they sell here?
I swear to you on my life, I will never hit on you. Ever.
Wow, thank you. I'm sure that was meant to reassure me.
You seem like a really great person. The kid's really lucky to have you.
My last image of my dad, our taillights while he drove away to his other family.
Mom, you know, you grew up without a father.
It was his choice.
I can't tell her who I am. I am buried in debt. Buried.
Why don't I know anything about you?
My father, he always said lean into it.
What does that mean?
It means that the outcome doesn't matter. What matters is that you're there for it. Whatever it is. Good or bad. Kind of like right now.
Did you tell her everything you know?
I don't know how.
Maybe we could both start trying to be
People.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those movies that you really had no idea how the hell they were going to do this storyline without making it come off as ewy. Because, yeah, this is definitely a movie where you have to look at it from... When you look at that trailer, you don't really notice it at first. But when the movie plays out, it's just kind of like, are they really going down the pathway that I think they shouldn't go down? But this is a movie called People Like Us, and it follows a struggling businessman played by Chris Pine, who's flying home to LA for the funeral of his estranged record producer father, and discovers that the will stipulates that he must deliver $150,000 in cash to a 30-year-old alcoholic sister played by Elizabeth Banks he never knew existed, and her troubled 11-year-old son. As I mentioned, this is directed by Alex Kurtzman, who had best been known for his work on Lost and Fringe, and also had been behind the Star Trek movies along with Roberto Orci, making his directorial debut with this film. So like Ted, we have a TV writer mostly coming into making his theatrical debut, and while this isn't as strong as Ted is, this is a really good movie overall, one that I really, really enjoyed a lot. Chris Pine and Elizabeth Banks both do a really good job in this movie, giving off their best performances I've seen from both of them. I'm glad to see that Michelle Pfeiffer's getting more work again. I like her playing the mother to these two. The premise overall is really interesting. How do you tell somebody you hardly know that you are related to them? And I was really wondering how that was going to play out. And what I saw, honestly, what happened, I thought worked out very well. It's a hard thing to do this story without feeling like, these two are going to end up banging each other without realizing that they're siblings. We had a comedy about 12 years prior to this, Say It Isn't So, which tried to do that, but that didn't work. But it's a hard thing to do to tell somebody that you've never even known that you're related to them, and then when you finally decide to do so, how do you break it to them? And the movie gives you really what you want to see in this. Like, I think they did a very good job of handling that aspect of the storyline. It didn't go down into the icky territories I thought it was going to go down. It helps you got a great score by A.R. Rahman of Slumdog Millionaire, 127 Hours. This is one of his more underrated scores. And I like the fact that the film didn't overload the emotional moments like the shitty Lucky one did earlier in the year. There were points in this movie that did make me start to legitimately tear up a little bit, especially in the last scene of the film, which I was really not expecting for this film whatsoever. I mean, Kurtzman knows what he's doing when to face enough emotions, factor enough emotions in that doesn't feel over-bloated. And, And I thought it was really good. I was really taken by surprise to it. Kind of like what I did with, Seeking a Friend for the End of the World the previous weekend. But with all that said, though, there are flaws to the film. For one thing, the kid of the movie is pretty obnoxious. Michael Hall Diodoro, who's not quite as bad as Max in Where the Wild Things Are, where you share no sympathy for him whatsoever, but more to the level of the kid from Crazy Stupid Love, who goes to stalkerish ways to get this babysitter girlfriend. But about 45 minutes into the movie, the kid really turns around, and you go from hating him to liking him from that point going forward. Another thing I really didn't like about the movie was Olivia Wilde, because mostly she's not being used here very well. She hasn't really been used well enough in movies. Other than Tron Legacy, they've really misused Olivia Wilde in these movies. Cowboys and Aliens, In Time, Year One, The Next 3 Days, The Change Up. Like, she seems like a nice person, so why don't she get better roles? Like, I mean, it makes no sense whatsoever. But ever since then, she's directed some stuff. Like, she directed a Booksmart, which I thought was one of my favorite movies of the decade. But then she followed it up with the lackluster Don't Worry, Darling, which had some good ideas to it, but the film overall was just kind of a mess overall. I also didn't like the whole storyline about how Chris Pine's character is being investigated by the FTC, because it never gets mentioned again at the end of it. So, what, did something happen off screen and we're just not going to mention it to anybody? Like, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The biggest fault of the movie to me is that there's always points where the characters are always living the good life, and then 2 minutes later they're back to hating their lives. And that happens, like, way too much. It reminds me of, like, Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, where, everything's going Shia LaBeouf's way, and then minutes later, it's hell on earth for LaBeouf, and it gets so annoying so goddamn fast. And, it happens in here. It's not quite as bad as Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, but it's pretty bad overall on its own merits. But regardless, this is still a really good surprise that I did not see coming a mile away. I mean, it's a really good movie for Chris Pine. It's a great movie for Elizabeth Banks. I mean, this is a movie that is one of the big surprises of the year. One of the year's best movies. And one of those big surprises that's right up there with stuff like Haywire or Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. I mean, these movies that come out of nowhere and you're just like, wow, this was a really good movie that I'm surprised nobody really talks about. It's a really damn good movie. It's one I highly recommend checking out if you haven't seen it. Most of you probably don't even know what this movie is. Seek this movie out. People Like Us. Fantastic, fantastic film. So let's get to some more fantastic movies with our next movie, and it's one of the big Oscar contenders for the year, and that is Beast of the Southern Wild.
Discover the movie that's winning audiences over. Beast of the Southern Wild is a blast of sheer improbable joy.
Got it, say I got you. I got you. Yeah.
Newcomer Quavenjane Wallace is simply amazing.
Who the man?
I'm the man.
She's a miniature force of nature.
I see that I'm a little piece of a big, big universe.
Don't miss the most magical film of the year, Beasts of the Southern Wild. Rated PG-13 in select cities.
Speaking of Where the Wild Things Are, getting back in that, here's the movie that Where the Wild Things Are probably should have been kind of like. You have Quavenjane Wallace making her feature film debut playing Hush Puppy, an intrepid 6-year-old girl who lives with her father, Wink, in the bathtub, a southern Delta community at the edge of the world. Wink's tough love prepares her for the unraveling of the universe for a time when he's no longer there to protect her. When Wink conducts a mysterious illness, nature flies out of whack, temperatures rise, and the ice caps melt, unleashing an army of prehistoric creatures called Aurochs. When the water is rising, the Aurochs coming, and Wink's health fading, Hush Puppy goes in search of her lost mother. And yeah, this is a terrific movie, man. This is one of those big kind of like with People Like Us. It's a big surprise you don't really see coming a mile away, but it's a really good movie, man. The movie is just gorgeous to look at. Ben Richardson does the cinematography for this. He does a really fantastic job with it. It's directed by Ben Zeitlin, who would later go on to direct Wendy, the Peter Pan movie that came out in 2020 that kind of came and went as well. Wasn't as memorable as you would think it would be, but I mean, like I said, it didn't really come out to much fanfare overall, but it's still, this movie overall is really good, and it's benefiting from the great performance by Quavenjane Wallace, who was only 9 years old when this movie came out. I mean, she became the youngest Best Actress nominee in history to be nominated for this role, and I haven't really seen her in much, since that little brief rise she had, because she was in this movie, she was then in 12 Years a Slave, and then she was in Annie, which I actually thought that Annie remake was really good. I think it's a lot better than people let on. I mean, it's a movie that was pretty shunned upon when it came out, but it's actually a really good movie that we'll eventually get to later on in this show. But ever since then, she's been laying low. She hasn't really done a whole lot. She's appeared on Blackish a couple of times, but mostly she's been kind of reduced to direct-to-DVD stuff, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember if there was anything else after 2014 she was in, besides, like, direct-to-DVD stuff, because the last thing I saw her in was a direct-to-DVD movie that looked like with Mila Jovovich in it. And if your career has gone to that, though, we have to go with, where you went from being an Academy Award-winning actress at 9 to starring in movies with the plank of wood that's Mila Jovovich. I mean, something must have happened there. Like, I don't know what happened, but we need to see more of her in much better movies than stuff like that. But I digress. This is still a really good movie. It's a really entertaining film. It's a really fun, visually gorgeous looking film to look at, with great performances all across the board. This is one of the best underrated little gems I've seen in a long, long time. Kind of came and went. I mean, it got all the Oscar nominations, and then just kind of disappeared out of obscurity. And it's a shame, because it's a movie that deserves a lot more attention than it gets. I think it really is one of the big surprises of the year, easily. A fantastic film. Can't recommend this one enough. Beasts of the Southern Wild. So, with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the last movie we have here. Seth Rogen and Michelle Williams starring in Take the Waltz.
It's you.
What?
Just glad you're here.
Yeah? Daniel, this is Louis. He's our neighbor.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
So you met my husband.
He seems to love you very much.
He does. And I love him.
I feel like being out in the world with you. Can we spend the day together?
Michelle Williams, Seth Rogen, Luke Kirby, and Sarah Silverman.
See you
Sometime.
soon.
I guess.
Take This Waltz, now on demand, in theaters June 29th.
I completely forgot that this was Sarah Pauli's follow-up to Away with Her, which is, of course, the movie with Julie Christie in, and, of course, Sarah Pauli would later go on to direct Women Talking, which won her the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Best Adapted Screenplay, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But in this movie, you have Margot, played by Michelle Williams, who's a 28-year-old freelancing writer who lives in Toronto's little Portugal neighborhood. As she struggles with and examines her feelings for Lou, played by Seth Rogen, her husband of 5 years, while exploring a new relationship with Daniel, played by Luke Kirby, an artist and rickshaw driver who lives across the street. And she also has Sarah Silverman as kind of her best friend in this movie. Also, thought there was another noteworthy name here, but I guess not. But this movie, not quite as good as Away with Her was, or even Women Talking, but it's still a very interesting movie overall, mostly to see comedic actors like Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman doing kind of more dramatic roles in general here, getting a chance to do more outside of their norm. And the performances overall are really good, and the performances, I think, really carry the film overall. The story in general is kind of the weak link of the film. It's not really that great overall. It's kind of stuff we've seen done before, but it works because the actors are so game, and they can make it work overall. And I think Sarah Pauli does a good job directing this film. She's very much an underrated director as a whole, and this is definitely a film that's well worth another look at, honestly. If you like Women Talking, you'll definitely like a movie like Take This Waltz. So, not much more to say about that one. Let me actually get the title correct. Take This Waltz. I don't know if I said it correctly or not, but the movie is called Take This Waltz. It's worth checking out. Definitely see it. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another episode of Time About the Movies, and we reach the halfway point of 2012. Next time around, we'll take a look at 3 of the big new summer releases, including Mark Webb trying to reboot the Spider-Man franchise with Andrew Garfield with The Amazing Spider-Man, which was basically Sony's answer of getting another Spider-Man movie out there because Sam Raimi wouldn't bend the knee to them with Spider-Man 4 that was going to happen. But I didn't like this movie when it came out back in the day. Have my thoughts changed on it since? We'll talk about that coming up tomorrow on the show, so stay tuned for that. We have Oliver Stone with his latest film, and one of his worst films in general, even with the cast that it has. Savages, which includes Blake Lively, Salma Hayek among the roles in here. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson from Kick-Ass is in here as well. Who else is in here? We'll touch on it tomorrow, so I can do some more research on it. I can't remember who else was in the movie in general, but we have also one of the big surprises of the weekend, the documentary Katy Perry, Part of Me, which really was a movie that I was not expecting a whole lot from, but I actually came out really enjoying that movie. So that's how we'll start July off here with those 3 films coming up tomorrow on the show, so stay tuned for that. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honor of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the last episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.